What's up, wrestling fans, wrestling card collectors, all memorabilia? Who cares? We do everything. We cover everything
All
now.
of
It seems
it.
like but we have another three count show here. We're doing our quarterly. This is the first quarterly of 2026, correct?
January, February, March 2026.
We
What?
got we got a lot to cover here. We're going to do it as quickly as we possibly can because we're trying to make these short and sweet, people. So we're going to go right into our new releases.
Okay, so let's get started. We're going to cover off Tops, AEW, and Independent. Um, Tops right now, Tops 2026 Chrome dropped today as we speak. Today's day one, and that one word. Big. This might be
Yep.
the biggest wrestling set that's ever come out. But let me take us back a step. Like 2 months ago, we were all sort of looking to the skies of where's any tops real estate, where's any tops wrestling cards. You know,
I know it's on your mind.
yeah. I sort of in between work and this. Um, Last thing we saw after Bape was the Cena commemorative that came out. Well, that was we could buy it just before Christmas. It just hit last week. People were actually
Yeah.
getting, and then we've had nothing. So we've had a black hole of nothingness from Tops, and then all of a sudden, bah, we've got a
Yep.
deluge. All of a sudden, we had Universe, then we had Exalted, Chrome, which is fucking huge, hits
Yeah.
today, and royalties coming in a couple of weeks, I think beginning of May. Now that'll probably be delayed as is Tops. Now, someone ought to buy those people a calendar and sort of try, but I know how these things go. The best laid intentions of mice and men, they want us to have regular supply, but sometimes it doesn't work out that way. But yeah, a lot of Tops products. So your pick of Universe, which was a big set as well, 300 base, a lot of relic stuff that we didn't see. Uh,
Mhm.
or is that Exalted? No, Exalted had the relic stuff. There's
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 some, there's some stuff in Universe too. I cracked
yeah,
open
the
a
ex-
couple
the
boxes of
exalted the
Universe.
exalted had the relics. I like the exalted cards. They're kind of like the national treasures. You're not getting a base set, and I've been trying to grab lots, and they're hard to find in lots even. Universe I got done, and I don't think Chrome will be a problem because there's going to be so much of it. The thing about Chrome is that it's not just the size. I mean, you got 300 cards, 301 actually in the base. I think I counted 19 insert sets. Many of them are super short print again. Then, of course, a boatload of autograph stuff. But the parallels, Tony, it's remarkable. Like, I mean, we've been talking all these years about parallels and how these sets have gotten bloated and bloated and bloated. Uh, it's an unwieldy set. It's just the biggest thing I think I've ever seen. And again, um, who knows? Is it? It must be flagship now. We refer to flagship as the 2026 set and this is going to be the Chrome 2026 is going to be the main set of the year. And then royalties coming, and royalties like another high-end sort of transcendent kind of product. So lots of stuff from Tops. So no shortage there.
Yep, tons.
Yeah, AEW 2025 SP Signature Edition. We had the Game Used Edition at the tail end of last year, and then the signature stuff got released this year. Interesting set. There is a 100 card base set on that. And that's been it to date. There is talk about 2026 Allure. That's imminent. It's announced for April 15th, but it hasn't turned up yet, so it could be right around the corner. But you know what? Starting next month, you're going to be the ones telling me about the AEW releases, and we'll get to that
Yeah, yeah.
in a second. So that's it for AEW. And then on the independent side, these are just a few of the titles that came out. And as always, props to Armand that's on top of this stuff and gets us the stuff on a regular basis, along with everyone else in the Brotherhood. We had the ICW, NHB, No Holds Barred Japan Tour. There was a 2026 ETU Wave 1. We had 2026 Proving Ground. And there was a couple others that I have in my inbox, and I'm sure you do as well, that we haven't finished yet. But there's always indie stuff. And again, Armand Wrestling Trading Cards on Twitter is the dude for keeping us at the forefront of all of that. And I should mention there was also a Leaf set called President's Day, which had an interesting combination of presidents and certain wrestling performers. And I think there was a Cena in there, and I think there was a Stone Cold Austin, there was a Flair, but get this, no Hogan in that set, which is rare for a release set. So yeah, you speak. What do you think about all this stuff, all the tops hitting all at once?
People have been crying about not having anything, and all
Yeah,
of a
and then
sudden
all
we
of a
get
sudden,
everything. But it seems like we can only get it one way or the other. We either get
correct.
nothing or we get everything at
Yes.
once.
Yes.
And I agree with you. Somebody needs to, I think we should send a gift to people at Pops and give them a calendar, like you said, and show them that there's 12 months in the year. And we like to have some stuff spread
Yeah,
out, please.
evened it out all of a sudden, because now I'm up for a real big expenditure, having to do
Yeah.
all three effectively, and I don't know about Exalted
Exalt's going to be
or
tough for you, buddy. Exalt's going to be tough
I
because
think so.
it's one pack per box, 5 cards per pack. You get 2 autographs, 1 relic, 1 number card, and 1 base card in a pack.
That's right. And I've seen a couple of lots that have 10 to 12 cards, but that just doesn't do it for me. That means I'm going to have to buy into this set like 15 times, and poor Chuck, it's just not worth it unless I can have someone give me a good chunk of them. But no one's, like you say, no one's broken sufficient enough quantities, even on the universe, to be honest with you. Not a
Yeah.
lot of guys were able to put together all 300 base. You had to open a fucking lot of product to get
Yeah,
them all. And then
I'm still working on it, but I've got customers who've been getting a lot of retail packs and stuff like that, and they've been able to find
that
stuff
helps.
at it's in Walmart's, and they're just keeping the ones that they like the most, and they just
Yeah.
dump off the rest of the stuff to me. And I'm working out deals with people where I'm buying, hopefully getting like 5,000 count boxes of singles of that stuff too.
Yeah.
I'll try building sets.
Yeah, so you could start putting them all together. I mean, you're gonna have a tough time with that last tier as always when we get into these
Of
things.
course, of course.
But you'll and even the inserts. There's in the universe. There's one particular called namesakes, and I think there's 40 cards in that one, which is large for an insert set. Normally
Sure.
like 15, 20, 25. And some of those are going like 8, $10 a piece, even though they shouldn't do. It's just the rarities. People want their punks and they want their Strattons and their big names. And
But I don't know about if they shouldn't. I don't think they shouldn't be is the right way. It's like
well,
that. I
people
think
are
that they probably should be because I think that's just kind of where we're at now with wrestling cards. Wrestling cards aren't the cheap
no, and
alternative
it
to
is
stuff.
what the market bears. So you're right in that respect.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm happy to see it as someone who's has been in the hobby for a long, long time when it comes specifically to wrestling cards. I'm happy to see that this is where we're at. I'm also disappointed as a collector because my wallet can't really can't handle it. But I get it. It's an ebb and flow thing. I totally get it. I love seeing it and I hate seeing it.
Yeah. So guys, so next quarter, when we get to that next 3 months, this release will have passed. Royalty would have come out, and we'll be able to speak much more intelligently about the configurations, the seatings, how it all went down. Um, you know, we should talk about well, we'll do that a little bit later on. So that's it on what's new and what's come out. And again, like I say, we've got these big tops releases, so that's going to keep us all busy for the next quarter, and we're going to have plenty to sort of report back then.
A lot to digest.
Yeah, quite a bit. So part two, top sales of the quarter. So this would be just year to date, January, February, March. What are some of the numbers that caught my eye and caught many of our eyes and we want to report on them now. Why don't we start at the bottom, Tony? At number 10, I remarked about a 2025 Hulk Hogan Topps Chrome 1 of 1 that sold for 4 grand. And that
Yep.
one's interesting because it's Hulk Hogan. We always expect Hulk Hogan to be with the All-Stars and the vintage stuff, but it proves that he's just as popular in the new as well. Like he's getting big numbers in the new Topps releases.
Sure.
Hulk Hogan is Hulk Hogan. Netflix has announced a 4-part docuseries coming out on Hulk Hogan. That's probably going to add, to the collectability. And your haters are going to hate. The guys that didn't like Hogan and have their thoughts about him, that's not going to change, so we don't need them anyways. Number 9, 2025 Rhea Ripley base, 1 of 1, 4,500. That might be the highest card that have sold in that Bape release. That was a weird one, huh? That cross promotion Bape. I ended
Yeah,
up with a
I
few of
just
them.
got my first card came in.
You got one of those?
Yeah, I mean, I just picked up this one, from a collection.
Which
Oops,
one's that? So pull it away from you. Yeah, there we go. Rey Mysterio. Yeah,
yeah.
I didn't get any of those. I just got a bunch of the action shots, maybe about a dozen or so of them.
Yeah.
But again, it wasn't for me to go chasing them down in that
That was
way.
it was a weird release because we would get phone calls here at the store, asking if we were carrying that product. It was unusual. I wasn't expecting that product to get sort of the demand that it actually had.
Yeah.
And I think that demand has obviously very much died down once Universe and now Chrome is out.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. That's what
So,
I'm hoping. I might go back and try and fill in some of that Bape now that everyone's going after all this new stuff. You got four
yeah.
new releases on tap. Um, 1098. Number 8, 2025 Pentachrome Cactus Jack. I was never a big fan of those Cactus Jacks. I didn't like the way they looked, but they did well. And the 1 of 1 Penta, and it shows you how popular that dude is, went for $4,051.
Let me tell you something about this guy, by the way. So by far, for my February, March reports for what number one selling items was, it was Penta Defining Moments
Really?
action figures. Uh,
Really?
and it's going to be the figure of the year, no question about it.
Really? Nice.
Um, and so I've been making jokes. This guy's on fire. I've been making jokes that shirts, action figures, whatever is trading cards. We sell lots of singles of trading cards. short of this guy showing up on the Epstein files, this
Yeah.
guy's going to be on fire for
Oh
a
no, no,
long
he works his tail off and he's the dude, like
Yes.
so good on him. And when you see this kind of love at the early stages of one's career, it only spells like big numbers, 5, 10 years from now. Some of these
Hope so,
cats that are,
hopefully, I mean,
like how big is Oba gonna be? Oba family's gonna be massive, and
yep.
if you're getting it on the ground floor of some of his collectibles now, good, smart,
Yeah, we get asked, my top three guys I get asked for, it's going to be Oba,
Yeah,
Penta,
yeah,
and Dom.
there you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
you see. Speaking of big guys, dude by the name of Andre the Giant. He comes around
Never
every
heard of
so
him.
often. Yeah, Wrestling All-Stars, NBA 8.5. We're not going to get into NBA and what that's all about, but it's yet another form of grading. Or this guy actually grades the graders, if you can believe that. But that
I
card
believe it.
traded that card traded for 51.85. So anytime you get a wrestling card over 5 grand, it's like big news. And for an Andre, it's not really news, but it is. Another modern Hogan, 2025 Hulk Hogan Universe. So this is from the set that just came out, sold for 7,500 bucks, and that was the one of one. Um, but still,
Well,
big.
you've got name recognition plus the fact that it's a one of one. So the two things combined equal
Yeah,
big number.
yeah, you can't miss. Um, Next on the list, number 5, 2025 Stephanie McMahon Topps Finest Superfractor, also $7,500. That's not a surprise. The McMahons do well. Shane has never gotten a big number. Vince obviously has. Um, and Shane and Stephanie, she's a Hall of Famer and all, you
Yep.
know, we're going to see bigger numbers from her, presumably. Because I just think with all this top stuff and Exalted and all this stuff coming out, we're just going to get more Taker autographs, more Austin autographs, more
Yeah,
McMahon.
and
That's all coming.
that's
So
a whole
so
separate discussion we can have about
yeah,
just people who are flocking to get these cards with these big numbers. On one end, it's justifiable because it's who it is and what they are. On the other end, it's also, listen, there's no
slow down.
shortage of these
Uh,
guys' autographs.
uh,
I mean, people come in here trying to sell me Hogan autograph cards all the time, and I'm like, I'm not interested at that price. They're like, these are common. They're
before
everywhere.
before
Find me a
Panini,
so for this point, like bring me a wrestling all-star card that's not signed. I prefer to have that, please.
yeah, exactly, exactly. They're the rare ones now. Like before Panini, we had what, one Stone Cold autograph, one Taker autograph. Now, it's entirely different thing. So if you're into these names, yes, it's nice to get in on the ground floor, but hang tight because there's going to be a lot of releases coming out, and these
Yeah,
guys
absolutely.
continue to sign. Number 4, 1982 Hulk Hogan Wrestling All Stars PSA 8. We know that a nine's worth 100 grand at times, but a PSA 8 sold for $9,100, so just short of the 10
What a
grand.
huge, and it's another discussion that we can have at some other time too. But what a huge gap in pricing by 1 point of a grade.
Well, we've had that discussion many times, like when I talk about wrestling being a racket or grading being a racket, that's what I'm referring to. Not to the
Of
fact
course,
that it works to get you bigger dollars. For sure, you have to
sure,
have that nine
absolutely.
to get the top buck. But should there be such a delta from an 8 to a 9? Mathematically, it just doesn't make sense to me. But I've
Does
never
not.
done it, and I've never done it. Well, one, because I'm up here in Canada, so it wasn't easy, right? But two, it's just like, you know, I don't buy into it. But that said, if I ever was going to sell, then I guess I'd wanted my cars graded and by PSA only, not by Mike Baker or whatever NBA
Yeah, sure.
dude. Now we're getting into the good stuff. Top three. Number 3 was a 1998 Randy Savage WCW autograph. High grade. Was it a 10 or a 9? I don't recall. I didn't
I think
mark
it was
it.
I want to say it was a nine.
I think it was a 9. Yeah, I think it was a 9. And it got 11,225. So that's, going to be the biggest Randy sale we've ever had. But, nowhere to go but up for Randy Savage. He's one of those names like Taker, like Austin, like Cena, like Hogan, like Flair. No downside. Number 2, a BGS 9 of a 1982 Hulk Hogan Wrestling All-Stars autograph sold for $20,000. It was our first big sale on the year. It happened on third week of January, second week of January, and I'm like, here we go. We've just celebrated 2025, where my entire list, save for a Cena that snuck in, was all Hulk Hogan, and here we go again in 2026. And then our top one, this is a nice one because they don't come around that often, but the top sale year to date in January was the 1974 Yamakatsu Andre the Giant. That's that Japanese smaller size card, mint condition, $24,400. So, what's your thought on that? Almost 25 grand for a Yamakatsu and an Andre
I
now.
like that. I mean, it's time that other cards from that era, from the 82 backward stuff, other than Wrestling All-Stars, start getting some of that recognition that it
Yes.
needs to have.
Well, like
Because
that Cosmos you sold.
there are those who are in the vintagey area that, those collectors that are in the know. But to expand that market even more, to get more people more educated on what is out there, it's nice to see these big numbers on these early cards hits like that.
Yeah. Like the Cosmos, you did
Like
well with
Cosmos, yeah,
yours.
yeah,
And what's the colorful one, the rainbow one of the Hogan? That name's escaping me now.
yeah.
I,
I'm drawing a blank right now because I'm just thinking Cosmos.
yeah, exactly. Well, every day I look at wrestling cards, and year by year, or sorry, month by month, there's more to learn and more to remember. And like when I do my
100%.
I do my Instagram posts.
I had a really interesting conversation with a customer yesterday talking about stuff and about that stuff and the history of wrestling cards and just that, you discover new things on old stuff. And we talked about the classic game time, thing from the
Yeah, yeah,
89
yeah, 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 yeah.
classic. And so he was like, that's just interesting that, you can overlook something like that for over 30 years. And then one day just kind of go like, wait a second. And then you
Yeah,
kind of,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
always good.
We never know it all, and that's the good thing about the way you and I approach it, is that we're open. Like if someone says, "Oh, by the way, that '98 Randy Savage Nitro was in fact a '98 WCW Series One. You guys have it wrong. We'll fix
Yep.
it." Because
Yep.
we're the first guys to admit. The three of us, we include Chuck in this conversation. When we do our archiving and we publish stuff, we take it personally that the next generation of people that look at this stuff is going to have it as right as it can be.
Yep.
All right, before we move on to the changing face of wrestling card distribution, let's talk about two other things that happened this year so far, in this quarter, that were massive, that were hobby-wide sort of earth-shattering stories. And we had two massive, massive sales that were sort of on the periphery of wrestling. The first, obviously, was the Logan Paul Pokemon card, 16 and a $0.49 million. And the reason why that's significant is because we've determined that it's an event-worn memorabilia piece insofar as wrestling is concerned, because he wore it at his WrestleMania debut and a few times afterwards. So it's no different than a robe or anything else that one would wear. Um, Making it by far the biggest sort of piece of wrestling memorabilia that there's ever been, even though
And that angers some people
it
having
does.
to
It
say
does,
that.
but you have to think about it logically, though.
Yeah.
If you take the emotion aside out of it and you say, okay, we're not saying that it's a memorabilia card. We're saying it's a piece of wrestling memorabilia. The card itself is
Correct.
a Pokemon card, but the
It
fact that
itself has
Logan,
become part of wrestling history.
right, exactly. And then that guy Hulk Hogan, he had a pair of boots traded for $1,021,000. His inaugural WrestleMania, the yellow ones that he had signed a
Mhm.
few years later. They'd sold for a lot less many years previous. I think it was 66 grand or something. And someone said, wait a minute. Photo matching says that these are the same boots that he wore at WrestleMania 1. Did the diligence to prove that that was the case and put $1,021,000 in his pocket. So
Nice.
that's how big wrestling is, guys. We're talking, $1 million for a pair of boots. You know?
Sure.
Yeah. All right, part four. We're whipping through this, but that's good.
Yeah, I
Um,
like it.
well, we like we do our hot topics and we talk about different things that sort of come to our attention. But the one thing I wanted to address now and let you do most of the speaking on this, and it's a very big thing that's happened in our world in the last year, yeah, couple of years, but that's, what I'm calling the changing face of wrestling card distribution, and how fanatics and the breakers really are the primary means of getting product into people's hands. So guys like me that buy on the secondary market through eBay, the guys that used to buy the cases and have those sets, they're not anymore because they're not designated breakers. When I say designated breakers, we're talking about the people on Whatnot, a lot of big people like Run Good Life and Mama and these kinds of people that do significant volume. Breaker Mayfield, who we've spoke to on the collectors series. These guys, they make a living breaking stuff, not just wrestling, but they're very, very heavily invested into wrestling. And what
Hmm.
Fanatics does is now this is the primary means of getting the stuff to market. You buy into your breaks, and I don't do it because I'm not looking for one card. You do because you're looking for Alex. You're busy, but if you want your Dexter Loomis, you'll buy into a Dexter break, and that's your best chance of getting one until we see what's left on the secondary market. But
Correct.
thoughts on that? Like it's a monumental shift in the way cards get to market and the way we sort of build our collections.
Well, we're speaking specifically only on the Fanatics model and Topps
Yes.
product, basically. So that's
Yes,
basically
yes, yes, of course. It doesn't apply to Leaf and Upper Deck and yes,
or any other place, but
yes,
it's what Fanatics does it's basically a lottery system.
correct.
So what ends happening is you can sign up for these product drop dates. You can go in there and say, I want to buy X amount. You provide your credit card information, and they just sit there and say, okay, we'll let you know. And if
Yeah,
you
maybe.
win, we're going to go ahead and charge your credit card. And if we don't, either you hear from us, you might not hear from us.
And we're going to charge your credit card $1,000, not
Yeah,
300.
yeah, whatever it is that you end
700,
up.
but whatever landing price is, you know.
Well, like you say, you go in, they don't charge you just some random amount and allocate you certain product. You go in and say, I would like to buy 10 boxes. You get them or you don't.
Yeah.
And either your credit card gets charged or it doesn't. And then it goes from there. Now, what happens, and people think it's unfair, and I agree with it, it's unfair, is there is favoritism in this market. And the favoritism goes to those people who are on breaking
Yeah.
sites, whether it be Whatnot or Fanatics Live, that exists. And they're getting
You can
favoritism
understand why.
over. I can understand why too. I mean, they're getting over favoritism over a Steel City Collectibles and over a David Adams and over a Blowout Cards. They're getting allocated their stuff too, I'm sure. But what they used to get, probably not as much. And there's other people who are way smarter than we are that can probably break this down even further. But from a collector standpoint, looking at it, we look at it and go, well, that's not really that fair. It's like, well, Fanatics standpoint is, well, it's fair for everybody. You can go in and get, what you want on the lottery system, if you like. But I know that I'm not going to be selected because I don't buy as much as someone else does. I want to buy a couple of cases, maybe, or a case. I don't want to buy 30 cases.
Say you're Steel City or say you're David Adams. These are tried and true businesses in the hobby that have been around for decades and decades,
Sure.
servicing their clientele. And you know, these aren't small players. These guys are national guys in a big way. And now all of a sudden, some kid that a year ago didn't exist in his house is
Yeah.
getting the same preferential treatment and access to product that they might have been because all of a
Because
sudden he hit a spark with his,
because money talks, and I'm willing to spend that kind of money to go and
yeah.
make, and then do my illegal gambling on Whatnot.
You know, like I saw Backyard got allocation. I'm like, oh great, you know what I mean? Because some of these people are you know kinds of people I don't want to do business with, regardless. You know,
Right.
so for me, it's been difficult. Even my supply is getting harder now, and guys making promises that they're going to give me product, and then you
Because
know
I have a
too busy.
storefront. I'd love to be able to get something just from the storefront. And when I have customers coming in going, "Hey, do you have any of that 2026 Chrome?" No, I didn't get allocated anything, man. I didn't win the lottery. So I go, oh, I got
No, you'll be buying
I
that
got
product at the
2 bucks.
National. We'll be walking around together trying to find as much of that stuff, as much of that
Yep,
retail, just like last year. That's how you're
yep,
gonna get that. But you know what? It'll
100%.
still be hot. It won't lose its luster. There'll still be stuff to be found in those boxes, and they'll still fly off your shelves.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
that just speaks to the success of the hobby now, you know,
of the
luckily.
14 boxes I picked up, the full case plus 2 extra boxes I picked up last year, I have 2 boxes left.
So there you go, right? And I'm sure you did okay on them.
I did fine. Yeah, I did absolutely. As a matter of fact, I for my company party last year, I broke open a box and gave 2 packs to each guy, and
Nice.
that was fun. But yeah, I
Okay.
mean, yeah, it's different on how we get in this product, and that it's unfortunate. I'd love to carry more Topps product if I could. I'm not going to be an RBI Crew or a Breaker Mayfield or any of these guys that spend a lot of money getting a lot of product. But I would love to have something for the store just to provide to pack
Yeah.
out maybe a box to
Yeah.
sell to customers like it, just to say that I have it.
Yeah, a guy like you shouldn't have to go onto eBay and be able to buy the same box that I can.
Well, I mean, it's hard for me to try to mark up something that I'm paying
Right.
overpriced already as it is.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. No,
when
because
it,
you
when it
you you've
dropped
got to
for
make
a
you've got to make your spread to
179,
keep the lights on.
when it dropped, when it dropped at 179.99, and now I can't buy it for less than 350, 400. I mean,
And that's every
what am I
time.
going to price it?
That's
Yeah,
everything now. You know,
what
like
am I going
there's
to price it at?
unless they make one of those, NXT sets again that I can buy for $25, you're going to
Yeah,
have that
sure.
problem
Yeah.
with all those boxes. You know, like what's it going to be for royalty? You know, it's going to be very interesting
There's
anyway.
certain products I have no interest in because I can't pack out Exalted. It's
Right,
one pack.
exactly. Yeah. Well, you know what? This segues nicely into the last thing I wanted to talk about. Last time we got together, you had signed the lease, you'd gotten the keys, you started to move everything over, but this is your first full quarter in the new digs, in the new location. So
Yes,
tell
yeah.
us what's new at WGS Phoenix, and then we'll take off from there.
It's been going great, man. I mean, still don't have a sign out on the outside. Haven't got something on the monument yet. But you know what? That doesn't seem to deter people from finding
Well, what's
us.
what's the plan for that? Like, are you
We
obviously
do. I mean, it's
you're going to
it's
get a sign?
Of course, absolutely. We got approved and I just got to get that. It just, it costs money.
Now, how does it work with the city? Do you have to have like in Toronto? You can't just put up a sign. The city
No,
has to
but
come
it
along, or
has
they
to go
have
to the
to.
property owner.
I
The
see.
property owner has to sign off on it. So the
Right.
sign company is willing to do the work, but they won't do the work until it's signed off by the property
By the
owner.
landlord. Okay.
Originally, the landlord had rejected our logo twice. We
Why?
threatened
Your
to,
logo is your logo.
they, that was my point. If I'm Nike, I'm not getting rid of my Swish.
Yeah, you're not going to change your logo for him.
Oh no, they wanted us to make it more horizontal, space the letters out, drop the PHX. And I'm like, no, no, it's
PHX
not
is
happening.
part of it.
Well, of course, well, legally I have to.
WGSPXX is the whole thing.
There's a wrestling guy store in Los Angeles with the same logo,
Correct.
so
Yeah.
I have to have the PHX.
Yeah. Yeah.
Eventually, it just came to the point where I had to send an email to them saying, "Listen, we're not changing the logo. We are not going to have a business without a sign eventually. So without getting attorneys involved, can we just part ways now?" And they said, "Oh, it's been approved."
Yeah. There you go.
So now I know what I'm dealing with when I'm dealing with the property owner. So,
Yes.
I have bigger aspirations than being this place. So, um, yeah, I mean, we're getting a lot of new customers are coming in. I'm between a dentist and a property management place that helps people find, places to rent and own, I guess. So I'm getting a lot of their customers like, oh, there's a wrestling store. I've never heard of that before. So our year over year, we just continue to keep breaking our own personal records all the time. So it's been growing a lot. And with wrestling being as popular as it is here in Phoenix, even with WrestleMania only being 4 hour drive away from us in Vegas, we're getting especially this coming weeks, we're getting a lot of traffic coming in here. So
You're going, aren't you?
I'm actually going to be in Vegas that next weekend, but I'm not going for WrestleMania.
Oh, okay. Because I think Ben's going.
I see how some people.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
only have time to probably meet anybody Friday afternoon
Right.
ish before dinner time, and then I'm family stuff for the rest of the time I'm there.
Right.
So I think we're taking our son to a magic show on Saturday, going to a
Nice.
concert Saturday night, and then coming home Sunday morning.
Nice. Before I let you go, talk about the product mix at the store. Is it still predominantly figures, or is it?
Oh, massive leap is figures,
Yeah.
massively.
You were talking earlier about a big deal you just did.
So for the stuff that I have on the wall here, people like to refer to it as the wall. It is definitely a sight to be seen. You're never going to find anywhere in the state of Arizona quite the wall selection you're going to have of figures that we have here. But that's a very small margins on that. So that's more of they come in, I might make a couple bucks on the stuff. That's about it.
Yeah.
What I'm making the most margins on right now is going to be all the loose figures. So we buy a lot of collections. And recently, I just came across someone whose husband had passed away and offered me probably a little over 1,500 loose action figures. And there's probably in this, there's grails upon grails for loose figure collectors in this stuff. And we've been doing our best to get this stuff priced out. Today is 1 week since I bought the stuff, and we probably only emptied one and a half of the 7 bins I bought.
Wow.
It's just a lot of research to get it all bagged, priced in the system, and then out on the floor. So it's been making for good content in our social media. So I, encourage people, check out our social media, Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, where we're always shooting video about this batch is going out, come check it out,
Well, you've become quite the character on Instagram. You're like that. What's that guy at the late night TV selling you the knives and shit?
That was Don West back in the day.
Yeah, yeah. You've become that guy all of a sudden, the pitch man.
And I've got a great employee named Alex. He's super knowledgeable, just a very smart kid that I give a
Good.
complete control of the store over. It's like that. Like I could leave and be gone for a week and it's in his hands. And I know it's in good hands because he makes the deals, man. He's really good at it.
Awesome. So,
And he's become a card guy too. So now he's super into cards,
awesome.
big Terry Funk, great Muda collector.
Really.
Uh, he's just phenomenal. And he helps do all the videos and keeps everything in line for me.
Yeah, fantastic.
It's
Congratulations on
growing.
that, on your
It's
first
growing. I
3 months, and like it's grooving in the right direction. Yeah.
it really is. And I can't wait for you to come back out here and check it out.
Yeah.
The new
Yeah.
dig.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It was so freezing cold, and I really should have come down, but I just got busy with other things in the first sort of quarter of this year. And I'll see you in July for the national.
There's
Speaking of
12
which,
months.
the national, people were asking you guys doing the panel. That is a very qualified maybe at this point because last year the way it went down, we had to rush off the plane. essentially, guys, it's this. If we can get time on the Thursday or Friday, then we'll do the panel. But if they try and put us on the Wednesday again because it suits their schedule better, it doesn't really work for us.
Yeah.
And whilst we'd love to do it again, it's a blast for us. Um, Again, that's going to be a game time decision. We'll certainly let you know on X and on everywhere else
Sure.
what the story is there. Um, but we're very much sort of in the air on that for the time being.
Yeah. Wednesday just doesn't work. It's just not pleasant, you know.
No, and we come in on a Wednesday so we can be out on the Saturday. And the problem is it's harder for you because you've got a long day. For me, it's just an hour to fly. Um,
The travel times never bother me. It doesn't really
but
bother
it's a
me at
long
all.
day for you.
It is.
You know, and it's a long day to sort of go through that, get off, see the likes of me, and be sitting on a table, all within, so as soon as you get off the plane. It's just
Pretty
not
much.
good, you know. You barely got time to splash water on your face, and you have to go, and we're not really into that. Like we go as much as we go to sort of represent the wrestling community. We go to hang out with each other and have a good time. You know
Absolutely.
that to me is a mini vacation. I haven't gotten away yet this year, and I don't think I will now until I hang out with you in July. So I'm counting the days for sure.
Yep, me too, man. It's
Yeah.
always good. It's always a good time, and we'll cover as much, and we'll try to do some more videos this time. And
Yeah.
we always have plans to do things, but so much stuff is going on. It's so chaotic sometimes at the national for those who've never been
We have a
before.
lot of friends there, and
Absolutely.
we like hanging out with people. There's a lot of people we only see at this one time a year, and we interact with these guys a lot. So to get like just a day or two together, it's like you take advantage, and we forget about, oh yeah, we should be filming this, we should be doing
Sure.
this,
Yeah.
but we'll uh, we'll make sure that we make good use of our time, definitely. So that's about it,
Absolutely.
buddy. That's all I had for this quarter. So it's going to be definitely next quarter with all the tops product that's coming out now. We're going to have some big numbers. Question is the Stephanie Vaquer going to be a $50,000 card? A whole bunch of things to be determined, but it's
Yeah.
going to be very interesting for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for watching. This is Tony Vela from WrestlingTradingCards.com and Wrestling Guy Store Phoenix. I'm Paul Anand from the Wrestling Card Price Guide. This is, say it slowly, WTCtv. 3 count. We'll see you next time, guys.
We'll see you.